guys, so I'm going to show you one more time how to get to our Wonders dashboard. That way it's a refresher and you know how to get there. So if you go to clever.com and you sign in as a student, it should bring your Clever dashboard up. This app right here called McGraw-Hill SSO is what you will click on. Then it'll ask you to launch your book. Yours will look a little bit different than mine because mine's the teacher edition, but you'll click on your book or click the word launch and it'll take you to our Wonders dashboard. So we are starting a new genre and a new story this week. So the genre is drama. And before we get talking into drama, first I wanted to go over our vocabulary words. So if you click on words to know, it'll have two genre studies. So we're in genre study 2, and it will take you to the words to know. So our first word is familiar. Can you say that word with me? Familiar. So something familiar is well known because it has been seen or heard before. Okay, for example, I took a familiar route from the bus stop to my house so that I would not get lost. What is a familiar sound at the park? If you were to go to a park, what's a familiar sound that you would hear? Something that you've heard before. Maybe birds or people laughing. Okay, so maybe you guys should list or come up on your own some familiar things that you remember about school. So let's look at the picture. So here we have a picture of a girl walking, and here's a house. I can tell that she's going to school because of her book bag, okay? So she looks like she knows where she is going. If she takes the same route every single day, the things that she sees, such as maybe this house, will become familiar to her. She'll start to realize where she is. So she's taking this familiar route so she doesn't get lost. Our next word is attitude. Say that word with me. Attitude. An attitude is a way of thinking, acting, or feeling. For example, the girls had fun working together because they both had a good attitude. So describe your attitude about doing chores. You could have a bad attitude or a good attitude. It doesn't always have to be a bad attitude, okay? So if you were describing your attitude about doing chores, maybe you had a good attitude because you knew that if you helped do the chores, it would help your mom out. So let's look at the picture. Here we've got two little children who are holding a plant, and they are smiling, and they're working together to do a hard job. So their smiles tell me that they have a good attitude, right? So if they were frowning, would that show a good attitude? No. Let's go to the next word. Our next word is cranky. Say that word with me. Cranky. A cranky person is in a grouchy or a bad mood. For example, being hungry makes Neil feel cranky. What makes you feel cranky? So what makes you in a bad mood or grouchy? I know that when I get hungry, I am just like Neil. I feel cranky. Sometimes when my mom used to wake me up for school, I would be cranky. She would put me in a bad mood because I was still sleepy. So let's look at the picture. This is a video.
Cranky. A cranky person is
So the boy's picture or face in this picture shows that he is frowning, or he looks like he's in a cranky mood. Something's put him in a bad mood. So would you want to talk to somebody who's cranky? No, you wouldn't. All right. Our next word is specialty. Say that word with me. Specialty. So a specialty is something that someone does particularly well or gives extra attention to. For example, understanding x-rays is a specialty that requires training and practice. So if you were to show us an x-ray, and we don't have training on this, we wouldn't really know where or what to look for in that. You would have to be trained really well, and this would have to be your specialty. So what specialty would require flying a plane? So let's look at the example. So this girl is looking at x-rays, okay? So she had to be trained to know what to look for in an x-ray. So studying x-rays is her specialty. So our next word is annoyed. Say that word with me. Annoyed. So to be annoyed means to feel bothered or irritated. For example, having to wake up early annoyed my father and made him grumpy. What is a synonym for the word annoyed? So what other word means to feel bothered or irritated? Maybe upset. Irritated is a good synonym. Bothered is a good synonym for annoyed. So let's look at the example. So here we've got someone waking up this little boy, and you can tell by his face that he's not really in a good mood and probably annoyed him. Our next word is selfish. Say that word with me. Selfish. So selfish people only care about themselves. For example, the two friends were not selfish at all and shared everything. How would you describe a selfish person? Someone who doesn't care about anybody but themselves. So let's look at the picture. So here we've got two girls listening to music on an iPod. They look happy about their music. If they were selfish, they wouldn't look happy. They wouldn't be sharing anything. So this picture shows the opposite of what selfish looks like because they are smiling and they're happy, so they are not selfish. Next word is frustrated. Say that word with me. Frustrated. To be frustrated means to feel disappointed by being kept from doing something. For example, the student was frustrated by the difficult assignment. What makes you feel frustrated? For me, it's frustrating when I'm trying to do something and maybe my dog is not leaving me alone. She's frustrating me. She's keeping me from doing something. Okay, so let's look at this video.
Frustrating. To be frustrated means to feel disappointed by being kept from doing something.
So the little boy in this video looks very frustrated while looking at his book and notebook. So maybe he's frustrated because he doesn't know how to do something or he doesn't know where to start on the assignment. And that can be frustrating. Our next example is commotion, our next vocabulary word is commotion. Say that word with me. Commotion. So a commotion is a noisy disturbance. You guys probably have commotions or you've heard a commotion before. For example, the swans made a commotion with their squawking and splashing. So what is an example of something that can make a commotion? Let's look at this video. So if you were to look at a lake, you wouldn't always see some swans making this commotion. Normally they're swimming peacefully. However, if something disturbs them, they cause a commotion. They get upset. Okay? So those are our 8 vocabulary words for the week. Familiar, attitude, cranky, specialty, annoyed, selfish, frustrated, and commotion. So why don't you guys go ahead and pause the video, go to your Wonders dashboard, and write down the definitions for these 8 vocabulary words. Alright, so now if you click the read button and go to our reading writing companion, and we are on page 130 and 131. So let's read the essential question. How do animals' characters change familiar stories? Sorry, let me reread that. How do animal characters change familiar stories? So the word familiar, again, means well known. So how do you think animal characters change familiar stories? Where have you seen this character in a story before? What story is the Frog Prince in? Okay, so sometimes stories use animals that you are familiar with, so that it becomes a familiar story. Animal characters all have unique traits and attitudes, okay? So if we were thinking about other animal characters, let's say the wolf. And most of the time, the wolf is the villain in a story. Why do you think that the wolf is the villain? It becomes familiar. You associate villain with the character wolf. So let's look over here on page 131 and let's read up here. The frog in the photograph is a handsome prince under a magic spell. So the word handsome, what does that mean? The handsome prince. That means good looking, right? That's how the familiar story goes. And of course, it ends happily. So once again, familiar means well known. What are some of your favorite stories with animal characters? So favorite, what does that mean? That you like it a lot, that you love it. With animal characters, and characters are the people in the story. So what are some of your favorite stories with animal characters? What are the characters' traits? So what do they have? What kind of traits do the characters have? So character traits help you understand the character. It explains their personality, maybe the way that they look, and it also helps make them who they are. So their character traits are their personalities, their looks, something that defines who they are. Write some words that describe the traits of animals in stories. Talk about these traits with your partner. Remember to make eye contact when you speak. Enunciate and speak slowly and clearly. So, enunciating means speaking slowly and clearly. So, let's think about a character. We can write some character traits in here. So if we were thinking of maybe Cinderella, okay, Cinderella is kind of very timid when she talks to her sisters and the godmother, or the stepmother. So she's timid. We could say that timid is a good character trait. If animals outsmart one another, we could say that they are clever. We could say some characters might not have many family members or friends, so they could be lonely. And last, let's think of some trait that defines who characters are. We could say that characters might be polite. So you guys won't have to do this. We just did this together as a class, but we're going to move on and keep talking. All right, so let's see if I can't get this to work. We are getting ready to listen to a short story about, the title is Grasshopper's Sad Tale. So we're going to read aloud a passage about a grasshopper who should have listened to an ant's advice. So in a drama, which is the genre that we are working with now, in a drama, there's usually a scene from a play that's meant to be performed. So dramas and plays could be synonyms. Characters' personalities are revealed through the dialogue, and the dialogue is what the characters say. And in a drama, the narrator may speak directly to the audience. So I made this little chart, and it's going to be harder to see on here, about the elements of drama. Okay, so the stage directions. Okay, those are the instructions that tell the actor what to do. So, for instance, it could be in parentheses and in italics, and it could say, go shut the door. So, those are the stage directions. They're telling the actor what to do. Okay, so the dialogue, that is what the characters say. Okay, so like in this example, we've got the wolf and Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf's asking Little Red Riding Hood, where are you going? I'm going to Grandma's. So that's the dialogue. It's what the characters are saying. The setting. The setting is the time and the place in a drama, or the place where it happens. The characters, the cast of characters, are all the characters in a play or a drama. And then a scene is the action that takes place in a single setting. So that could be the scene of Little Red Riding Hood telling the wolf that she's going to Grandma's. And then the last but not least, we have the script. And that is the text of a play. So I'll step back so that you guys can see this. This is the elements of a drama, okay? All right, so now we're going to listen to this read aloud with a grasshopper's sad tale. So listen along and see if you can't find descriptions of the characters as we listen.
A grasshopper's sad tale. Grasshopper sits in a chair, shivering.
Okay, so that would have been the stage direction. That grasshopper sits in a chair, shivering and warming his hands at a fire, and then looks at the audience. So this is the exact picture of what the stage directions are telling us.
Grasshopper, drawing himself up. Do not tell you this. See, look at me, my
Okay, so when it said grasshopper pauses and then shrugs, that is the stage direction as well. So here's that picture.
But the day was young, and the grass was comfortable. To the summer sky.
So as we read, we can continue to ask questions to help us understand what is taking place. So, do you think that the grasshopper will listen to the ant's advice and prepare for winter? Let's read.
Ah, rainy eve. I could longer to sing to Jim.
Okay, so after we read, did the grasshopper prepare for winter? No, it kept putting it off and off and off. So, what lesson do you think that there was in this story? There's a time to work and there's a time to rest, okay? So, you would need both to have a successful life, because now he's got to ask Ant if he could eat a leaf and borrow some water. So remember, our genre that we're going to start talking about and reading is drama. And dramas are kind of like plays because they're meant for someone or the characters to perform. Okay, so we'll stop here and go to the next thing on our agenda.